Hey guys, it's Magaz here and welcome to the top-down video rig. This is down at my studio. We're going to be talking today about this custom Desert Night Grid parka. It's a very popular garment that I've got and people seem to love it and want to know where they can get their own from. The TLDR is if you want one, you're either going to have to make one or contact somebody like Hanlatasa because this is a one-off that I made. So I don't plan on making them for anybody else because the cost that I'd have to put this at to make it worth my time and energy to make it sell would be so high that it would have to stand up to the quality of a premium item. I don't think I'm there yet. So let's go over this and I'll explain to you what I've done, how I've done it, and how you can do it if you want to do it or where you can source your own. So brief history on the DNG parka. This pattern is Desert Night Grid camouflage pattern. It was issued to US forces in the Gulf War. The idea was this should confuse users of early generation night vision devices. Apparently it didn't work quite as well. It just became one of those pieces of kit that was cool to wear. And now it has come back into sort of the zeitgeist, if you will, because it's just a cool looking pattern, and companies such as TRC Outdoors, Flash Force Industries, O241, Hanlatasa and all that have all started making cool gear in this pattern, and it's become much more readily available. When these were issued originally, they came in the form of a fishtail over parka and a pair of oversized over pants. These were designed to be worn over your BDUs, so when you actually access these pockets, they weren't actually pockets, it was just a cut flap. There's actually no pockets in there. I was inspired by an Instagram account called Hanlatasa. Hanlatasa is somebody who's totally into creating Gucci kit from either scratch or modifying Desert Night Grid parkas like this and other really cool bits of clothing. Hanlatasa had created this item called the Crust Cut Parka, which was a cropped DNG parka with a zipper and pockets, and in some cases the interior was lined with a different camo pattern. I saw this, and because I'm a bit of a fanboy of sewing machines and playing about with a sewing machine, I decided that looks easy enough to do. So I picked this up from eBay for about 50 quid. Prices fluctuate. Some people don't know what they've got and you get one for a tenner, and some people think they've got absolute gold dust and they want 130 quid for it. Be sensible when you're looking for one and you'll find one at a reasonable price. My idea was obviously to cut this to like a jacket length. So this is exactly on my waist. Add a zipper, add pockets, adjust the collar, the sleeve cuffs, add on some Raid Mod pockets. We'll go through the process. Now we've waffled on quite a bit. So the first thing you have to do with this is to actually work out how long you want it. I wanted it waist height. So I measured to where my waist height would be, and then you need obviously a little bit extra over, like bleed, I guess. This is if you want to add an elastic shock cord or a drawstring to it. So I had about 2 inches, inch and a half bleed, and basically just cut it off at that length, fold it over, and the first thing I did was just stitch that straight around, and that was step one complete. Now, because I've cut off all this excess, I had a lot of fabric to play with to actually modify this to make it more usable. Next thing I did was actually make these pockets serviceable pockets rather than just flaps, and to do that, I basically created these sort of triangle-shaped sections out of the DNG fabric, folded the edges over, stitched it so the edges aren't going to fray, and then I just stitched those to the back where the pockets were going to be. So that made the pockets. I did both of those. I was toying around with adding some like sneaky burglar pockets inside, like inside pockets, but I decided against that, mainly after I'd seen these stitchings on the outside. I didn't really like it, so I didn't do anything further inside. Next thing I did was I added the Raid Mod pockets to the top. So the main issue I made with these was I didn't fold over the edge up here and then sew it, all right? I don't have an overlocker, so I couldn't actually overlock the end of this to make it so it wouldn't fray. So the top of these pockets do actually fray, which is kind of annoying, but they're only going to fray down to the stitching here. So the first one of these I did, I actually unstitched the entire sleeve all the way down the seam, so I could actually get access in there with the sewing machine to put that on. At that point, that took me absolutely ages because I had to seam rip the entire thing, sew it, and then put it all back together. So with this one, I decided, sack that off, I'll just squeeze the sewing machine into the sleeve, and it was an absolute shit show to do, and it took almost as long But it felt like a lot less stressful thing to do than actually almost destroy the sleeve. It's got the original stitching on there still, so this one, in my mind, feels stronger than this one, but I did do a pretty good job of stitching the other one, so it's not an issue. So the next thing I did was add the zipper. This is a YKK Vislon zipper. I think this is about 23 to 24 inches. It was a super simple install, basically with this side first, butted it all the way up to the edge right here, stitched it all the way up and down, and then I added a piece of fabric over it so the back of it wouldn't actually catch on anything when it's being worn. It makes it a little nicer to look at from the inside. And then the other side basically did the same, worked out where it needs to be so the flap can still close over and access the buttons. Stitched it on, and now I've got a working zipper, which is great. Oh, I forgot to mention, when I did the foldy over bit at the bottom, I did stick the elastic shock cord through there with some little dongles on the end so I can actually cinch it in and make it a little tighter. The cuffs. This was the last modification I did. These had elastic cuffs and I really didn't like that. I wanted to be able to make them baggy if I wanted, or tight if I wanted. So I just got a seam ripper, opened up the corner, snipped the elastic, and it just immediately came loose. Then stitched on a piece of Velcro, made a little cinching part out of some more fabric. Again, I did the same mistake with this as I did the red pockets. I didn't fold over the edge here, so this is starting to fray, but it's not an issue. Added some Velcro, and now I can just cinch this over as and when I want. So, with all that said and done, it took me about 4 hours to make this once I had everything that I needed, which is the Velcro, the shock cord, the zipper, the jacket itself. I think now it'll probably take me a little less. I do have intentions to make a second one without the opening at the front with a big pocket here, so it's just like a pullover parka. You'll probably see that on the channel at the Instagram account at some point. I have actually tried to make one of these from scratch as well in Swedish M90 fabric, and it went completely tits up. I'm going to try it again. I've started making another pattern. Who knows? We'll see. But basically what I'm saying is, if you want one of these jackets, don't come to me because I'm not going to make you one. You're going to have to go and find somebody like Han Latassa, who is a master at making these cross-cut style parkas. I will link the Han Latassa Instagram page in the description of this video, so go and check that out if you want something like this. If you want to see more videos of weird shit that I've made, like my plate carriers, I've made a few of those, and rigs and stuff like that, and alterations I've made to my other gear because I'm an absolute fucking hobbit and nothing fits me, let me know and I'll put together other videos like this. But for now, this is it. This is the Magaz custom one-of-a-kind DNG parka. Hope this answers everybody's questions who's asked me about it. I basically made it myself, so yeah. I mean, if you want one, you can kind of probably follow the instructions I've just put out there and make your own, but yeah, just have a go, see what happens. It's a good life. Anyway, I'm Magaz. Remember kids, the air may be soft, but our balls are hard.